Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Relentless recap. As you guys are tuning in, remember to hit that thumbs up. And before we jump into it, remember our disclaimer. Guys, day trading, like any other business here in the United States of America, is risky. There is no exception to this field when it comes to risk. So approach the markets with caution. Approach the market in a way where your risk is limited, your exposure is low. You can do so by starting off by using a simulator. This is where you can practice trading the live market with artificial currency as you build experience and try to become competent in the field. Remember, risk money is the other way to go. You can use risk money, a limited amount of cash, a specific amount of cash that if you lose it in the markets, it will not affect your life. Guys, remember that day trading is risky. Remember that I am not a financial advisor, analyst, accountant, economist, none of that sort. I'm not a tax professional. You'll always want to make sure you go to a professional to get any legal advice. What I'm doing here is just me broadcasting how I trade and what I do and what I'm looking for. It's not to be copied and try to be duplicated, by hitting the buy button because you see me buying. Remember, the YouTube live stream is delayed. So do not try to copy trade me. It's a recipe to blow up an account. You have to learn how to do it in a formal way, all right? And we'll touch back on that in a little bit. Lastly, I do not invest money for my followers and subscribers. That means I will never ask you to send me money. I will never come up with any trickery to ask you to pay me through PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, none of that stuff. I will never ask you to send me money ever. I will never message you first. That in itself is a red flag. I will never message you first. I will never ask you for sensitive information. There's been a lot of fake Relentless Trader accounts, impersonators on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, everywhere. You name it, fake accounts. So stay safe out there. Be careful, guys. And coming back to the topic of learning how to trade in a formal way, as we're transitioning away from the disclaimer, remember that there's a proper way of doing things and there's an improper way. And today's episode is sponsored by Merciless Markets University. This is my very own day trading course. If you want to learn how to trade in a formal way, if you want to have all the information organized in an easy and digestible manner, and you want everything in one place, check out MMU. Become a member today and gain access to our comprehensive course, ongoing lectures, weekly Q&As, archives from myself and Marcelo, two six-figure traders, a daily watch list and trade plan, low latency streaming via Discord, and our MMU inner circle chat in the Discord, one-on-one mentorship with Marcelo and myself, and lifetime access to the Relentless Trading chat room. Ladies and gentlemen, become a member today. Use coupon code VEGAS for 40% off. And if you are a gold member, gain a chance at potentially coming to Vegas for an all expense paid for trip in November for a day trading seminar / conference called Trader for a Cause. All right, let's jump into today's recap. You guys clicked on the video because you saw that I was able to make $3,700 today. Relentless Trader, how in the world were you able to do it? How were you able to make $3,700 in just a few hours in the stock market today? What wizardry is this? What sort of madness is this? Relentless, we remember you talking about you working at Amazon and doing 60 hours in a week, 10-hour shifts a day, and only making $800 at the end of the week. How in the world are you able to make $3,700 in one day in just a few hours? Let's talk about it. So remember the day trading course I just mentioned. I'm going to talk about some of the patterns that I look for here. Of course, not in as much detail, but we're still going to look and talk about, and we'll even show a live trade. I'll throw a live trade in there just for you guys today. So ICCT, we're only going to focus on this one. Straight into it. Let's go. This stock made a move yesterday, and I tried very hard to do well and get green, but I could not connect. This is yesterday. Look at how many times I threw out orders and I tried to get involved, but no matter what I did, I could not connect. And it got to the point where I was so inconsistent in my trading that I decided to call it. At one point, I was down 350. And I said, I'm getting frustrated. You know what? I'm going to set a max loss. I got myself back to zero. I told myself, hey, if you go back down to 350, you got to call it because obviously what you're doing here is not working. And I traded about 70,000 shares yesterday at no prevail, right? And so the market has a very funny way of testing you. Whilst the opportunities were present, I had a hard time connecting. And the moment I shut things down, the stock started to jump up 50 cents at a time. And I knew exactly what was happening. I was being tested. And, the world has this way of bringing you back over and over like a revolving door when you need to get past a certain level, when you need to increase your discipline, become better. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to give in to temptation by logging back in and coming and, over trading or possibly even revenge trading despite the stock moving up here. And you know what? It ended up pulling back here with a big red candle. 90% chance I would have got caught right there and given everything back. So I'm grateful and I'm proud of myself for being disciplined. So when it comes down to the technicals, right? When it comes down to the patterns and the setups and the edges that we look for, let's bring it back. So ICCT started out yesterday with a nice push, 3 big green candles, and ended up getting halted up. And I mentioned how I missed the first 3 candles, and this was very costly. And so when a stock goes up too quickly, too fast in a short amount of time, there is something called a circuit breaker halt. You guys can look this up some more online if you're not familiar with it. So we were paused for 5 minutes. I came back, I saw it here. It pushes up. I managed to make $400 in this range. And then I give it all back on the move down. Trying to buy a bottom, thinking it would move back up, and that just was not the case. So today, and I think it's pretty important to go over yesterday's history to talk about how I did better today in our move up. So pre-market, this is around 9 a.m. The stock starts to move up. It comes alive. It gains good volume. And we go from lows all the way at 5 to a high point of 894 in just a few minutes. From there, it consolidates sideways, but unfortunately it's making lower highs and breaks down. And so right here, we're watching to see, hey, how well can this thing hold up these levels and get back up? It starts the day with a huge surge. It just goes, man. It just rips. It goes up so fast, so quickly that it gets halted up again. But unfortunately here, it resumes and it immediately flushes down. I was watching at this. I didn't see an entry. It just was too much selling. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to avoid getting in. It then resumed lower. And so this, guys, this is why we mentioned the disclaimer that this is risky. There are pros and cons to every field out there, every profession, every career, every job. And one of the cons of day trading is that as much as there is a lot of opportunity and potential, the risk is just as great. And it's very present. It's ever present. In fact, it's always on the other side. There's the reward, there's the risk. There's the risk, there's the reward. And this thing goes from 821 to a low of 575 in 10 minutes. So a lot of what we're doing has to do with being in a place where the risk is low, the exposure is limited, and there being limited downside risk and high upside potential. And so I avoided the move down. If there's just too much selling for me to say I need to buy this thing, and I waited. And what I was watching for was a break over this level here of $7. So we resumed. It pulled back, and here we are. You can even look at this as a huge flag, a huge bear flag here. Think of the triangular looking pattern, right? The flag. We can draw it up over here just for reference. You're going up. Think of your country's flag, right? There's this triangular looking shape, but this is the inverse. So we're coming down. But when we break the high point of this flag, there's a chance that short sellers start to get squeezed. What are short sellers? Who are short sellers? Short sellers are the people buying the stock, hoping for it to go down for them to make money, right? We're not going to get too much into the science of it, but people who are going short is the opposite of someone like myself who is going long, buying, hoping it goes up. Someone who's going short is buying, hoping it goes down. And so when the stock starts to go back up, those people, they then have to cover, is what it is, the terminology. They have to cover their position, which is essentially buying it back, right? Again, we're not going to go too much into the science of going short, but just a quick explanation there. So over the high of 7, I wanted to see this thing go. And this is where I'm going to show you guys one of the live trades from today. If you guys don't know, if this is your first time watching the channel, guys, I go live every day, every single day, red, green, everything in between, doesn't matter. I am live streaming it all. And so let's talk about today's recording. So we're going to look at that resumption, and we're going to look at one of the patterns that I trade every day, right? Almost every day from the classes. So this is where we sold off. You guys will see it right here. You know, and let's even look at the price action quickly on the way down, just to show you guys how crazy this is. So we're halted. The resumption is coming up. We're at 820. Let me make sure my camera is not in the way. Okay, we're good. You know, there's 780, 770, 750, 738. Just an incredible amount of selling going through, and this thing not bouncing up, right? So let's fast forward. Now we had other stocks in NAOV, DBGI. So let's talk about the move that I'm watching at right here, over 7 on ICCT, as we're going to get close to the resumption. So initially it's going to open up higher at 720, then it dips down to 690. So I start to watch, and I'm like, you know, how well can we hold up around 7 and then potentially push over the level of 720? So I'm, you know, there's another stock moving, but I'm keeping it inside of my eye, and I'm gonna watch here, right? So as this starts to curl up some more, let's bring it back a little bit. And look at how small my share size was. I mentioned today I'd be using some slightly smaller size. I got in my first position here, watching for this continuation over 7 and 720 with very small size. I'm in at 10. Can we get going here? I'm watching, I'm waiting. I'm going to cut that flat, and then I'm going to look to get back in the moment the volume starts to pick up here to the upside. So here we go. There's the break of 20. I'm in exactly where I want to be. Can we get up to 30, 35, 40? There's 35. It's already pushing up. 37. I take it off. Great trade. Great first trade. And this starts to tell me that this stock might mean business. We get to 46, 47. And guys, that is just 500 shares. That is me using about one-tenth of my normal size. And I still was able to make $68 in a matter of moments there. So it's all about being able to understand where to buy, where to sell, how to manage risk, how to get out of the trade if we recognize it's not working, and continuously doing this over and over and over and over again. And so I'm watching here. You might say, Relentless, what in the world made you think you should buy back again to sell higher? Watch this, and I'll explain it here. We're watching at the left hand side of the screen, right? So I'm in at 20, I'm out at around 32 area, and right here we get a small pause in the price action between 37 and 46, and I'm watching here, and I see buying coming in on the tape, a little bit of green there, and I'm waiting. I'm going to say, you know what, this is it, and I get in 36. Right here, hey, Relentless, what is your stop in this trade? What is your risk? The moment this breaks below 730, I'm out. And are there days when it comes down so fast that I take a bigger loss here? Yes, those days will happen. But if you're consistent about stopping out quickly, when we are seeing the follow through and continuation, you can be consistent over time. At least that's how I am consistent over time. And in the courses, that's what I teach. For those of you who are looking to be disciplined traders, looking to always have pride on discipline, you cannot have selfish pride and ambitions, that are not complementing what the market is. If you can surrender yourself to the market and understand that the market is bigger than any one of us, and you understand that it's not a place for ego and pride in the wrong way, you can potentially be successful here. The market is like this ocean, and no one can swim across the ocean. But if you understand it for what it is, you can go and maybe you have a little jet ski, a speedboat, maybe you're on a cruise ship, right? And you can scoop up some water, scoop up some profits as you go. But swimming across the entire thing and thinking you can drink it all and be able to survive is not the way to go. So we must have high discipline. And so I buy back here, and I'm selling into the highs of 762. And so my theory that if we got back over 7, we can go up and potentially get back to the highs was correct. And here I am with very small size, up $300. This is why I was telling the people that if I wasn't coming off of a 4-day red streak, I would have made over like 6,000 today, for sure. My size again would have been 5-10x, right? So it does compound, but ultimately I did the right thing. I was red these last couple of days. You guys will notice here that I was green 500 on this stock, and so part of the goal was, hey, let's not go back to zero. Let's not go back to flat. 3 out of the last 4 days I was red. I was green about 500 before going red. And so today the adjustment was mandatory. It was mandatory, and we did what we needed to do. And so for some motivation to end it off, and this is essentially what I did throughout the entirety of the day, is to continue to trade all the patterns that I talk about in our course. For those of you who are not familiar with it, come down to chapter 24. Come down to chapter 24, take a look at all the different patterns and edges that we talk about throughout the entirety of the day. All of these different edges that continue to show and present themselves, I traded while I was managing my risk. And that's how I was able to get myself over. It's over, 300 here, 150 there, 200 here. Maybe I take a loss of 100, 150, but then we add back on the next one. We keep adding. Before you know it, at the end of the day, after a few hours, boom, we're up a solid amount. Is it difficult? Hell yes, it is. Nothing great, nothing easy. Nothing great is ever easy, right? Nothing that yields such reward is ever going to be easy. It can be day trading, it can be real estate, it can be any other field in the world. There will be pros and cons. There will be hardship. It will require consistency and discipline. And so remember, even if you're struggling, make the proper adjustments and know that there's hope. There's no wall too tall. There's no mountain too high. I said this yesterday, and it's why we have to continue to keep a positive mindset as we trade. It's because every day we wake up, we get an opportunity. We get a chance to improve and to be better. And here in this community, progress is the only goal. Can we over time improve, and over an extended amount of time on the macro level, can we compound and build discipline and become better people, better traders? Ladies and gentlemen, this is where I'm going to end it off. It's been Relentless, and I am signing out. All right, so stay safe out there, stay green, and I'll catch you guys bright and early again at 9 at 10 a.m. tomorrow for another beautiful day in the markets. All right.